Hello, Julia here, and I'm glad to have you on board as I set up my current bullet journal for 2021. Now, if you remember, or if you're new, I set up some basic spreads when I moved over to this journal in November. I'll leave that video up in the cards above if you haven't seen that super quick setup. We're going for that new journal feel without the new journal. There are quite a few spreads to set up today, so you know the deal. Let's get to it. So, opening up to the first spread, which will be the 2021 cover and quote page. I do plan on adding a tab here so I can quickly get to this section of the journal, but overall the idea and theme, I guess, for this setup is keeping it neutral. I think black and white is the go-to for neutral, but to kind of change it up a bit, I'm going for browns, tans, golds, with just a little bit of black for an accent. So I've cut a circle out of the Archer and Olive craft notepad, and I'm filling this up with a gold zigzag pattern, and I'm using dots as my guide here. I have to go ahead and vouch for this Pilot extra fine point marker I'm using. It's smooth as butter and amazing to work with. I want to say this is my first time actually using this pen, and I am a fan. Do recommend. I'll leave that as well as many supplies as I can down in the description as always. So on top of that, I'm writing in 21 in this font that I can't say. I'll just pop it up on the screen. And I'm doing this with a Cricut fine liner in the color Moccasin. And I'm honestly doing this to get the line work just down because this gold pen comes through just about everything except for the acrylograph pens. So I'm just going to fill this in and line it again with those so it's nice and opaque. I'm using that same technique here with the word 20, just sort of writing it out to get that initial base and then the placement, and then going back on top of that with the acrylographs for that solid look. If you've seen my stationery organization video, you know I have a binder full of clippings and cool patterns that I find and keep. So I found one that's ornate and fancy looking, but close up is a bit raunchy, which I low-key love. But most importantly, it has a dark brown line work, and I thought that would be something cool to add to this quote page. I also have these craft envelopes that I decided to cut in half and make a little pocket for this really beautiful paper. I don't know what type of paper it is. I used it in a printmaking class many years ago and have been itching to put it to use, so I'm going to use a little bit I have left in my bullet journal. Yeah, I'm putting this sort of collage of media together for the backdrop of the quote, which is, note to self, whatever this year brings, you got this. Pretty self-explanatory what this quote is all about, especially after the year that was 2020. I didn't even try to wordsmith anything or look up quotes, just straight out and blunt, you got this. I'm finishing off this spread with just a few more zigzags and of course washi tape. I'm not sure if the camera is doing this gold justice, but it is super shiny, super opaque. I just can't get over it. Moving along to the first spread of the year, which is probably one of my favorite spreads to look back on, the photos of 2021. With this one, every month I take a Polaroid or print one from my phone, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just really fun seeing this one filled up. But yeah, I decided to be a little extra on this spread and paid for it, which you'll see a little later. Initially, I was going to use the acrylograph to fill in the Polaroid area, which is honestly taking way too long, and it was using just a lot of ink for an area that was eventually going to be covered up with a photo. So I decided to instead tape off the sections and paint them with acrylic paint. This is genius, I thought. It's going to be so much quicker, I thought. And I mean, who doesn't love that satisfying feeling of pulling away those clean edges? So just jumping forward a bit, I got the first 8 done and just going in with that gold marker on top of the paint for the lettering. But we're gonna stop it right there just for a quick second. Even though I did all of that thinking the paint was dry as it could be, I was wrong, and this ended up happening to the spread, which was a bit devastating, not gonna lie. And after thinking about it for a few seconds, I decided to just glue the spread together, do it again, using a hairdryer to make sure it was dry, and leaving tracing paper in between just in case. Needless to say, I became a pro at doing this spread by the time it was all said and done. If you want to see what really happened with this spread, with all the actual freak out, I'll be posting it over on Patreon for your entertainment. But I eventually got this photos page done, and it was a lot of trouble for bits that will eventually be all covered up. But you know, I do like how it turned out overall, despite all the drama. Okay, we are moving on, and the next page is a 2021's themes page, where I'll do a mini doodle from the theme each month, and this will be another one where it'll be super fun to just look back on and know what themes I did for the entire year at a quick glance. Pretty easy setup here. I split the page into 12 and did the little headers in more of those craft dot grid cutouts. Next up are the future log spreads, and if you're new to bullet journaling, the future log is where all the important upcoming dates are stored before they are migrated over to a monthly spread. I made myself some calendar stickers, and I'm just going to plop those in, doing 6 months on one full spread and the last 6 months on the next full spread. I personally like doing the future logs horizontally because these pages fill up super quick, and I find I typically need more horizontal writing space because I'm writing in a meeting or event and it's going to be more than like 1 or 2 words. So I always split the space into 2 columns if I need more space than what's there. I'm using more craft paper for the headers here, and I do like how that sort of brought a bit more interest to the whole spread. I'm not going to show the entire setup of the future log here because I just duplicated this entire spread for the second half of the year. Last year, I used washi tape on the edges of my pages to easily find important spreads or pages that I use most often, and I really love doing that. So especially with this future log not being at the beginning of the journal like it would typically be, I thought it would be wise to add washi tape to the center future log page. For the next page, I'm busting out my calendar stickers again and setting up my period tracker for the year. With the stickers, this is a quick stick job, and I dressed it up with a drop shadow and headers. Also, maybe TMI, but since I'm on a menstrual cup journey / switch, I doodled some cups to finish this one off, and I thought it turned out super cute. Moving right along, I'm doing up a books to read spread coupled with a Logofolio. For this, I'm doing a little office scene with picture frames, a bookshelf to color in books as I finish them, and a computer down at the bottom. I'm thinking for the frames up top, I'll doodle in some of my favorite scenes of the books that I read throughout the year, which could be fun. Now, I'm probably the slowest reader on the planet, so I don't expect to fill all of these in, but it definitely gives me something to shoot for. The computer down at the bottom is for the Logofolio. For those who don't know, I'm a graphic designer and I'll be using this space to write in logo projects my partner and I complete throughout the year. And I like having this in my journal because one, it's really neat to look back at what we've worked on in any given year, and two, it's helpful to have on hand when we want to like spruce up our portfolio with some of our favorite projects. The last spread for this setup is a 2021 focus page and a travel diary. For the focus page, I'm splitting the page into 4 sections and I'll be writing in things I want to focus on in 2021 in regards to health, relationships, work, and art. I haven't done a page like this before, but I thought it would be helpful to include so that I'm more intentional when it comes to these 4 major categories. Again, I'm using craft paper and drop shadows to pop out those headers and using those same zigzags and dots along with washi tape to tie everything together. So of course this past year we did like 0 traveling, and I'm hopeful that next year we'll be catching up on all of the canceled concerts and trips, and my partner and I will hopefully be traveling more for work, so I wanted a place to keep track of all the places we go. So for this grid, I've set up a smaller area to draw in the flag of the state or country we go to. Fun fact about me, I love flags, so I'm looking forward to that portion of it. But the other space is to write in the date and the location of travels. And that'll do it for this spread and this setup. I absolutely love how the spread turned out. The layout is pretty minimal, but I'm looking forward to seeing it when it's all filled out. So before we get into the final flip through, I want to, of course, thank you guys so much for watching this extended setup. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite spread was and what you would like to see from me in 2021. To support this channel for free, give this video a like and subscribe down below if you haven't already. And be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out when new videos go up. The January plan with me is up next, and I'll catch you guys in that one. But for now, here's the 2021 setup flip through. And if you like this video, here are a couple more I think you would enjoy.